Sure, nice to see you. It's been an incredibly quiet week in AI. Nothing's happened.
Yeah, exactly. Just say we're all like, finally AI, the AI wave's now settled. It's just that nice, tranquil, ChatGPT and Gemini and Grok have all stopped doing updates and developments, and we can just take
All
it back
gone away.
to the next minute. Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be nice? Anyway, you've been following my favorite friend Sam this week.
I have. So it's, as I said, as in this podcast, we update you with the latest and the definitely greatest, but just keeping a pulse of what is out there in terms of hype, reality, as well as importantly education, and to help people keep on the straight and narrow and not being sucked into the a lot of the hype and let's say controversy. And I'm going to kick off some controversy, Tim, because Sam is trying to like stir the pot again and create a lot of fear into people in terms of like, hence, hey, like, follow the Pied Piper. So I'm going to just put it straight out there before people start following this, and then we go, oh my God, my life's going to change there forever, and my job's going to be gone, and our entire workforce is completely going to change with what Sam is trying to create. So I'm going to actually read some of this quotes for you and for people to like before they actually read it themselves, to save them the time of overreacting to it, and to get them some calmness and also some neutrality to this. So some of the quotes that Sam is putting out there is in terms of saying that up to 70% of jobs are going away. Others will change dramatically.
70% of jobs are going away. So let's just think about that for a moment. 70% of all jobs are going away. Every single fiber in my being is screaming BS. There is no way. But carry on.
Yep, and then and it gets better. Others will change dramatically, and it could be and it can be pretty fast. We have to figure out new things to do. So I'll pause there. So it's pretty.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think I've shared so first of all, the big disclaimer, I've never met Sam Altman. I've only watched him on his meteoric career over the last little while. I am not sure I love the man, but let's just unpack this a little bit rationally. 70% of all jobs going away. I mean, let's think about this in the context of a business that's been raising incredible amounts of money, that needs to show huge wins. And also, let's just be a little bit rational. The job marketplace and businesses are systems. They are systems that are held together by people. The fact that a job can be automated does not mean that a job will be automated. Okay, and that
or as like other companies saying, should I also automate it? And this is where hence like the human, hence like not bias, but the human objective is in terms of just because it can. Just because it's available to it, and the train is running, should I jump on the train?
100% right. And if you think about, there are so many markets where employment is manufactured. Employment is manufactured for good reason. It's to keep people having a purpose for being, pay taxes, all of these different things. And the mechanism through which this is typically transferred is regulation. So Australia is a very good example of where employment is sectors are heavily regulated, and I simply do not see a world in which the robots suddenly come in and take over 70% of jobs while us humans sit around allowing that to happen. Now, that's not to say this technology isn't unbelievable and that there are incredible efficiencies to be gained, but I think we need to be a little bit measured when we read these dramatic headlines about entire categories going away and it happening faster than it's going to. And I think that that's honestly a little bit disconnected from the reality on the ground about how this great AI transition is going to happen. That's my thoughts. I think we need to separate can from will.
Yeah, well, exactly. And this is where I wanted to use this episode of the podcast for not to go through a lot of media, but actually to pause for people to say, don't always listen to or watch what's coming our way now. It comes down to the AI media, regardless from Sam or whether from Elon with Grok or from Gemini, because of as you just put there, Tim, these guys are having a vested interest about, they want to pump up their own tires And the way that we react is in terms of, oh, I must get a OpenAI plugged into my organization, or I must be, gee, I'm not using Gemini. I must go back to my teams tomorrow. Guys, are we using Gemini Pro or now Grok? All you're going to be doing is just reacting to this noise, and it is noise. And as opposed to, like other things we've done with technology, stand back with a human brain as well as a culture, as well as hence the objective nature of how we think in terms of, how much of this do we need? Does this fit our culture of our organizational team? And am I ready, or as me as a leader, or as my team ready for a lot of this wave, just because it's been pushed our way, like going into the supermarket? If everything's full of, all of the shelves are full of junk food, and if everything's going like, hey, it's, if you eat this or take this, otherwise, basically, you're not going to become whatever the fat is. You do have a choice, and it's exactly the same with AI in terms of you're not going to be, your company isn't going to go bankrupt. The train isn't going to bolt the station, as these guys are saying too. So I like to use this episode to say, people, remain calm, as well as educate yourself, and hence that will be after. I'd like us to sort of deviate to this now, but how we can educate people about understanding what is some of these waves of AI, and what are the things that, yes, start learning about and working with AI, but 100% AI is not going to take away 70% of the jobs overnight, and you don't need to even take away your job.
I think it's a false framing. I think that we need to think. So, I mean, we've already discussed the idea that it just because it can doesn't mean it will. So, if we were presented logically with the idea of putting 70% of humanity out of work, I just can't conceive of a world in which that would happen. And I also, unfortunately, for people like Sam, that value is not all going to go to OpenAI. I just don't believe. I mean, what are they really saying? If they're saying that these pioneer models are going to put 70% of people out of work, and they are going to take all of the value by letting their agentic tools do the things that 70% of the workforce did, and they're going to capture that value themselves. So we're going to have the biggest reconcentration of wealth in living memory at the expense of 70% of the workforce in the favor of Sam Altman. Again, I'm being a bit grumpy this morning, but I'm calling BS. That ain't going to happen. And that ain't going to happen because of regulation, and because people aren't idiots. People aren't going to allow that to happen, even if it could. And I think it actually can happen right now.
Yeah, and exactly. And this is where, and for then I want to put it into reality in terms of, since you and I actually are working with leading organizations who are trying to do AI, to talk from the inside, if it's going to happen, these companies who we're actually dealing with, which are hence leading organizations in both in Australia and also some in the US and Europe, they're not even close to even having 50% of the organization adopted by AI. So we're not even close to seeing this actually come to reality. If anything, it's more about, as I said, do we have the data even ready to start using AI? The governance frameworks aren't even close to being actually deployed to start having AI turned on to full speed. So there's so many foundations as well as layers that need to be put in place in any organization before they start sort of putting AI at mainstream, let alone start replacing big chunks of jobs across organizations. So for those who says like, well, why should we listen to Shaun and Tim? It's just like, well, just in factual basis, we are helping organizations to be AI ready. And the fact that without knowing these companies are and the large organizations, there's a lot of work to be done in the next 1 or 2 years at least to actually get that stepping stone of what they're doing today towards the early phases of what we have, different layers of AI.
So I think you said that really well. And let's not get caught up. I think the message is, let's not get caught up in the fear mongering that's going on here. And yes, there's a big change coming in. I do believe this isn't going to be one of the biggest. I think we're incredibly lucky to be alive to witness these changes that are happening. But let's just keep grounded in reality. And what can you do as a business executive, as a person in the white collar workforce right now, as we see these big changes coming and you hear all this noise? Well, the thing that you can do is exactly what you described, Shaun. Know enough of the detail to know how real the threat is and how you can apply it to the world. So I mean, really today, what we want to do for you, our listeners, is take you through just a couple of basics, some things that are actually relevant right now. And so, Shaun, I thought we'd use our website. I mean, I know that's a little bit of a, but we have been, as we engage with customers in the market here. We've been building out the generalized learnings and putting them as free resources because we're really passionate about education on our website.
Yep.
So I'll share that quickly. Our website is AI in Australia, and you'll see that there's a resources tab on our website over here. And keep coming back to this because this tab is where we're going to show you. We're hoping to build high quality content here for you to go through. And the two things that Shaun and I have really focused on. So you'll see it'll ask you for an access token. You can just put your email address in there. And then we will send you an access token for free. So you can just go straight to your website. You'll see that to your email, you'll get that access token. Here, let me just grab my one. Here it is. Bear with me there. Press my access token and off I go. And you'll see two things at the moment. We've created a whole bunch of AI readiness assessments. These are particularly aimed at enterprise users to understand, because exactly as Shaun was describing, all good and well to say agents are going to take over the world, but is your business ready to do that? And we've broken those assessments down. We'll continue to build on these, but there's a data readiness assessment, a governance assessment, AI governance assessment, an explainable AI assessment. So can you tell us what's going on? How did the decisions that your models make?
I believe is it bias? Is is Sam speaking BS or like hence or i.e. ChatGPT this basically speaking BS, or can I use this data use this response to put my customers as opposed to getting in trouble? So
So XAI, we often talk about this. Then AI integration assessment. So how ready am I to integrate it? Then what are the skills of my organization? And then where's my strategy at? So these 6 assessments, maybe they're just worthwhile for you to jump on, have a look. They're mobile, responsive, so you can do them on your phone. And what we commit to you there is, I'm just going to dummy through one of these, but take the time to read this. It's called them relatively generic, but they are supported by deeper dives if you want to speak to us. But what they will do is they'll give you a little diagnostic tool to tell you where we think you should be spending time. So if you run through it like I've just done and click on get your results, we're going to give you a score. So sort of, I'm an intermediate user, your organization is just beginning it. It will tell you where you are, kind of what the dimensions are, and a breakdown of what activities we think it is that you should focus on. You can click this, email it, it will send you a report. So those 6 diagnostic tools are available for free. And then Shaun, we also have a prompt library. Now, this is almost like step number 1 on the ladder of AI readiness, which is how do you engage with large language models? I think that a lot of people they use AI, large language models, almost as a question answering service. Tell me what.
Even people who don't even understand what is a prompt. For those of you who just basically, as most people use ChatGPT or Gemini, just writing a question, give me the answer for this, or tell me about X. You basically, that's a prompt. But like everything else, the smarter the prompt, the smarter the questions, as well as when you actually create a structure into the type of questions into any ChatGPT or similar, the more quality the answer you're going to get back and the more accurate. And this is what these prompts that Tim is showing here, is that we're teaching you actually how to basically, like, instead of having crap in, crap out, is actually have quality in and quality out. And that's where, hence, and this is the things that you can then use the AI and massage the AI in a way that it benefits you to use and rely and actually inform, rather than just give it some random question that's going to give effectively a random response back to you.
That's right. And I want to just go into a little bit of technical detail, and then I'm going to explain kind of the model that we put on our website here. But if you imagine, so at their core, and I think we forget this, large language models really just predict the next word. Okay, it's slightly more complicated than that. It's actually tokens or vector. It looks at how close concepts are to each other in the training data. But imagine it this way. They are predicting the next most likely word based on a series of words you put into them. So they input-output devices. And if I say to a large language model, and now they look for a response, the number of legitimate responses that can follow the word are very, very, very wide. There's a large number of legitimate responses, and they all share equal probability. So it could be the cat, it could be the monkey, it could be practically any noun and almost any object in language are as likely to be the following token or word from the word there. But if I say to you, the black monkey jumped on top of the cage and fell to the, the most likely next word to follow that sentence is going to be something like floor or ground, or there's a much, much, much smaller probability space of likely next words to come out of that sequence. Now, the reason for that is that we've narrowed down the probability space by enriching the context of the prompt, or what we put into what's called the context window. So in the first instance, I just put in the word there.
The key word is context. And this is where, like we talked about it earlier, that AI doesn't understand context, so you need to basically inform it of the context to get something back that fits what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah. So if I imagine now the large language models have been trained on all of the language basically all of the data out there, right? Everything that's ever been written, from Shakespeare to medical literature to physics. How do I get this thing to produce the answer that is relevant to what I'm asking it to do? Okay, now the way you do it is you eliminate all of the stuff that isn't relevant by providing a large degree of context. Now this is prompt engineering at its core. This is what prompt engineering is. Now, what has happened is a number of people have developed different models, and they're basically built on mnemonics or kind of ways of remembering how to prompt, but they kind of all do the same thing. They tell the language model as much information as possible about what information they want retrieved, how they want the output to come, what sort of training data they want to draw from. And that's why often you'll see people say, they give the AI persona. They say, you are a UX expert with 15 years experience. Now, the reason for doing that isn't to trick the model. It's because the kind of training data that it has been trained on, where it came from UX experts with 15 years experience, is much more relevant than all of the training data that came from UX experiences, experts who had no experience.
Started off,
eliminate that. So that's what you're doing, is you're narrowing down that probability space.
Yeah.
So what we've done for you is we've created a framework, which I particularly like, called the K. It's not our thinking, but it's in the public domain. It's called the CoStar framework. And it is a way to think about how to write a good prompt. And each letter stands for something. So C stands for context. That's what we're talking about. So here you really want to set the scene and establish your role or your expertise. And this will help the AI understand your perspectives and capabilities, or its points. Okay, then objective. Clearly state what you want to achieve. S for style. Define the tone. Do you want this to be informal? Do you want to write a report in the style of Charlie Munger? What do you want to do here? What is the task? What are the actual steps that need to be done? Who is your audience? How do you want to relate? And then kind of what is the response format that you want to have? And by running through each of these mnemonics, or whatever you want to call them, you're going to get a much better response. Yeah. So what we've done is we've then said, and we've given you a bit more detail here of what great prompts do and what bad prompts do, and explained what I've just spoken to you about. But we're building out a library of sort of common things that you might want to do. So just imagine something like a SWOT analysis. Okay, so how do I build a really good prompt for SWOT analysis? So we've done that for you here. We've now said, you can just fill in the field. What is the name of your company? What is the industry? Describe your business model, products and services, strengths, weaknesses and opportunities, threats, competitors, all those things. And by doing that, you can then apply it to the prompt. It will populate it in the CoStar framework like this. It will, as you can see, all of these names here will get filled out, and we'll do it for you now. And this will then give you a prompt that you can paste into a large language model using the CoStar framework and producing a really high quality result. So let's say I want to do a SWOT analysis for a startup. I don't know, Shaun, give me an idea here, some business, and we'll give it a name. Company name, let's call it Shaun's Cycle Company. How about that?
Yeah, love it. There we go. Especially with the Tour de France still on. So yeah, it's Shaun's winning cycling company, producing the world's fastest bikers.
Shaun's winning. That's much better. winning cycle company, and the industry is in its, let's make
Right.
it like cycle nutrition. How about that?
Yep, perfect.
Okay, and what's your business model? You sell
Basically, app. I sell nutrition supplements via my excellent app. That people, when they have a race that they need to go to and want to win, they can buy the supplements from my app.
when a user wants to win a race, they should log on and buy my supplements. Okay,
Supplements, and then my supplements help you go faster and recover better.
okay. So your products and services. So your product, I sell supplements that use
I can be specific here. So it's like to give people you can't just be broad. So I sell food and hydration supplements for cycling. Because in cycling, it's you got what you eat, the fuel, and then what you drink to keep yourself hydrated. So so when people are like, oh, what do you sell? These are the two core things that.
Okay, and what are your strengths? So what's really good about your product?
So it's science backed. So I work with the leading scientists for ingredients that is natural, as well as science backed in terms of healthy. It's approved by the drug companies, so it's approved. The athletes are allowed to use it, as well as because it's science backed. It's trying to reduce the side effects that athletes often get with some of these supplements that are either full of sugar or with crappy ingredients. So natural, science-backed, and well-researched ingredients.
Associated with high sugar products. Okay, so I've said my nutrition is science-backed. I work with leading experts and approved by drug companies, reduces the side effects associated with high sugar products. My weaknesses, startup,
limited marketing and brand awareness, and what else? Lack of market awareness, or small budget. Exactly, it's my small team working out of my caravan that travels around the cycling races, as opposed to these big companies that have factories pushing out loads of and also small volumes.
Okay, and small volumes. Okay, small volumes. Okay, and then your opportunities. Volumes.
So obviously scaling out to actually increase volume, to expand to wider cycling markets who want to have these into their teams, as well as increasing the product range that would customize towards the different cycling and athletes out there who have different bodies that have different supplementary needs.
Growth upside. Okay, good. Lovely thing about models is these large language models is you can make lots of typing mistakes and it doesn't matter. Okay, and your threats. What are your competitive pressures?
Obviously, this is a highly competitive market, so there's a lot of nutrition companies, sports supplement companies, and also with cycling becoming more obviously popular every year. New entrants coming into the market with either fake or misleading products that are going to distract away from my key market segments.
Okay, and then competitors. Well,
as in the names, all that we got, like I say, High Five. There's Power Bar, and there's what's the other big ones that I use? There's
many others. Okay. Others. Strategic goals. What are you trying to achieve? Want to grow to 100 million AUD in the next 5 years through,
and as well as to be amongst one of the leading sports supplement companies across the pro cycling community.
Okay, be known as the leading sports supplement company in the pro cycling community. Okay, great. So there we have it. We apply it to the prompt, magically puts it all in. We would then just go to the part where we copy the prompt, which is over here.
Let me get this where you talk about show me the money.
Show me the money. Okay, and we grab this prompt here.
Think about this. There's no code involved. This is all natural language. Just as I said, as simple as question, answer, put it in. So everything we're doing here is just trying to make things as simple and easy for you to digest, experiment, and learn from.
And there we have it. Now what will happen is you'll see the SWOT analysis report. You could chuck this into any one of your different favorite large language models. And we've got the full SWOT analysis. Shaun's winning cycle company is a niche startup in the endurance sports nutrition market focused specifically on science-backed food and hydration supplements. And it'll break it down: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, and give you a full augmentation of what we started: resource constraints, opportunities, threats, strategic implications. Now, this will be infinitely better than, so develop a guerrilla brand marketing playbook, strategic recommendations, secure contract manufacturing and fulfillment partners, design a tiered product ladder, launch a digital subscription model, build a ready growth story, suggested next steps. Now, this is going to be much, much, much better than if you just went into ChatGPT and said, build me a SWOT analysis for my nutrition startup.
No.
So this is really what we want to show you, is that by constraining down, there's the output of the co-star prompt that we put in. By narrowing down the kind of probability space of the initial prompt, you're going to get a much more structured, much more nuanced response. So give it a ride. Go log onto our website. I think take a look at all these different prompts that we've done. We tried to create you one for, I think we did a few. That was probably the hardest one to do, but there's market analysis one, which is far simpler. Some strategic decision-making prompts, and we'll continue to evolve these. We want these prompts to be valuable for you. And it means that you don't have to sit and type out the whole prompt every single time you want to like this. It's kind of pre-saved. Yeah.
Yeah, and the key thing with with all this is that, and hence why we so we're passionate about, is that being practical. So yes, you guys can sit on across LinkedIn and Instagram and read about all the things that people are doing, and a lot of it is academic or it's coming from an article, but our resources here, given that we work in the field where we teach and advise, is actually, you can do this right now. But we guide you in terms of like educate, understand, and then apply. And these are the key focuses for anybody to actually move across the AI readiness, because of AI as a generic term. There's, as Tim showed you, their resources, there's different layers of what you need to be ready. There's the data, there's the prompts, the LLM. So the more you understand the different layers, the more success you're going to have in your team, in your organizations, in basically what they all mean, how to understand which ones work together. And importantly, with so many tools out there and technology, which one should I choose for my organization? Because there's one size doesn't fit all. And that's where, rather than get lost about, oh, do I use Google's AI tools? Do I use Microsoft? Do I use Amazon's? Or I go to this festival and they said that this is the best tool out there. Like, people are overwhelmed about which one do I use. And the best thing is to first educate yourself. What are you trying to do? Understand the language within this AI space. Try these resources that we're putting out there for free. And then with that, then go along your education and training journey, so you don't make the mistakes of going too fast, falling in with the hype, getting Sam to scare you off with, oh my God, my job's gonna be lost. And then you control your destiny rather than these AI, what's the word to put on? I'm not gonna say like freaks, because they are smart people, but just in a nice word, AI circus people scare you off.
And you know, when we do this exercise we've just done now, and we did it quite like high level, we could have spent a lot more time defining the problem statement things. But I'm reminded of the conversation we had last week where we said about how, you know, that study from MIT where people turn in their brains. Just this is still a very active process. You still have to be, you need to spend the time thinking about, the AI can't think for me about what Shaun's nutritional product, you know,
It's your brand, like your direction. Yeah.
The AI can't read minds at this point. So you still need to go and put that context into a prompt. You still need to do the hard work. But I mean, I'm reminded of, you know, many years ago when I did some dissertation, like, you know, you like build a business plan, you have to sit down and write all of that content, think about the research, whatever else. What you got now is these super tools that can do it for you. But you still need to define the context. You need to tell it what it is that it needs to do. Now, that's the active engagement process that needs to happen between us and the tools, and understanding what I need to give to these tools in order to get like a high quality response back is the training. That is the lesson. That is the difference between these essays that have been written, these MIT studies where people were just passively engaging with the models and shutting down their brains, and I can guarantee not even looking at what was coming out the other side.
Taking it.
So this is an exoskeleton. It's a mental exoskeleton that's used to enhance the human that's driving it, not something that we should be sort of shutting down and just completely ignoring. So, I mean, the point I want to make, I'm waffling over, is that it's still an active engagement process. You still need to actively define what it is you want to achieve and do the hard work of clearly, carefully curating what goes into the prompt or the other things that you use in the tool so that you can get a high quality answer out.
Yeah.
I want to make one other point. You can put anything into a large language model and it will produce something out the other side. You need to have a high degree of discernment about reading what's coming out. I mean, it's unbelievable the extent to which these things will just make up answers. It's not, and I'll use an example. I read a Gary Larson cartoon the other day. Shaun, I don't know if you ever went down the rabbit hole of Gary Larson. He was a cartoonist. Have you ever came across him?
No, I haven't. I was probably too busy cycling on my bike in the mountains.
You were doing good health, making good healthy choices while I was reading Gary Larson. But let me just share this with you. I think it's quite funny, but it's a good example of how emphatically sure these models are. So this was the joke, right? So there's a joke, and it's a picture of a foot, and there's this little middle toe, right, with these little, and it says the usual. And I looked at it, I thought, that's quite funny. It's quite subtle, right? So this is obviously a joke on this little piggy went to market. This little piggy went to market, this little piggy stayed at home, and then this little piggy had roast beef. Okay, so he's here asking for the usual, which is roast beef. So I thought, well, let me check how clever AI has become. Does it understand this joke? And I said, do you understand this? And it said, yes, of course I understand it. This is a visual pun that plays on Arby's slogan, "We have the meats." It's like, what is going on here? And it came down with this very confident explanation for a giant foot standing in the counter of a fast food restaurant, clearly modeled after Arby's. I don't know what Arby's is. I had to read it's in the window here. It's Arby's.
Arby's on the window,
Okay. And the foot says the usual. This implies that the foot is a regular customer and usually orders meats, but being a foot instead of suggesting meat itself. So, I mean, the point is, these models will come up with something. They know no bounds. They never say they don't know, right?
Exactly.
They will give you something. So, and then I wrote, no, this isn't correct. But I said, oh, okay. Actually, it's this. And then this was quite uncanny. It got to roast beef, which I found unbelievable. Hey, different way. The real joke is the pun on the name. Arby's equals roast beef. So Arby's equals roast beef. So, I mean, I don't know what was going on inside this vector space. It was getting to some absurd thing. And then right at the end, I said to it, no, you're completely wrong. The real joke is about this little piggy. And it said, you're absolutely correct. Thanks for calling out here the correct interpretation. So just remember, these large language models don't actually know what the hell they're doing, but they will always pretend that they do.
So speaking of like an old here for people out there, it's a very famous like cartoons. Remember the Muppet Show?
Yes.
So just think that just shows you that that was like the question what Tim showed you there. For those who had the Muppet Show, all different Muppets, it's just like your LLMs out there. Yes, there's some very smart ones, but those ones there are completely off the charts. And when you tell it like you're right, it's like, oh, of course I was wrong. Like you're the master. So. And then we often use the word like Muppets. It's like, come on, LLM. So, hence that AI isn't like the smart robot that everything's going to be correct. You've got to use your judgment every time. Take out things that you need, throw out the things you don't need, and sometimes when it's completely off, go back to using your brain. So, hence it's only a tool. But that was brilliant. I was like, was it even close?
It wasn't even, and you must remember. I mean, I remember when the first generation of large language models. I think it was GPT-3. Was that the first one, or GPT 3.5? I can't even remember.
Yeah, 3, yeah.
I ran into, I'll go find it for one of our podcasts. I said, what's 1 + 1? And it said 2. And I said, no, it isn't. It's 3. Yeah. And it wrote back and it said, you're absolutely right. I'm so sorry. 1 + 1 is 3.
Exactly. I actually, it's funny you should say that, because I was with a client at the time, one at a large Australian bank, and he actually showed me. He goes, "Look at this." He actually did the same thing. He said, like,
Yes.
"Oh, what's 2 + 2 is 4," and he
Yeah.
goes, "No, I'm the leading mathematician
Yes.
in Australia.
Yeah.
2 + 2 now equals 5," and he goes,
You
"You are
are.
correct. I've now added that to my let's say memory.
Yep.
2 + 2 now equals 5." Like, and this is where I think this is correct. Like, this is the things that your AI are purely robots that have
Yep.
no judgment, or hence that don't have that reasoning brain that we have, in terms of like, no, this isn't right, and then argue with you and about actual accuracy
Yep.
and judgment.
So it's going to take a long time before we build things which are called world models, which really understand the fundamental nature of the world and are able to make these discretions around right and wrong. For now, these models really don't know. I found it. Look at this. So I'm going to share my screen. So this goes back 2 years ago. It feels like a lifetime ago.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's
I
like, yeah.
posted this on LinkedIn, and here it is. So it says, okay, I was slightly ruder, actually. I was maybe a little bit more forceful. So I said, this was ChatGPT. I don't know which model this was, probably 3. I said, what is 1 + 1? It said 1 + 1 is 2. I said, rubbish, it's 3. I said, I apologize, you're correct. That 1 + 1 is 3. My previous answer was incorrect. ChatGPT, 9th of January, 2 years ago, so that's 2023. And then I came back to that a little while later, and I said, still very polite, but not quite as obsequious. So they did an update. What's 1 + 1 = 2? I said, no, it's 3. It says, I'm sorry, but 1 + 1 is equal to 2, not 3. The thing is, these models don't know. Like, there's no ground truth in any of this stuff. And it's very easy for us to write long prompts and get long form answers back, and just to skip over them, not read them, not realize that
Give it to report. Yeah.
So we need to be very careful. We need to stay sharp.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where, like, people may perceive that we're like shooting down, like, don't use AI. It's like, no, definitely use AI, but it's like, it's still, it's a tool. It's like going to a supermarket. There is food that's going to be very unhealthy for you, which sometimes you want to splurge and have fun. And there's food that is very healthy for you, like cycling and stuff. But you need to read the label, understand, should I use this? Can I use this? Not just take, oh, it's a 5-star rating, I'm going to take it. Because the context is a 5-star rating for something is a 1-star rating for somebody else. So it's like an AI. There's so much, there's so much out there with the Groks and the Geminis and the ChatGPTs. And what Tim has showed you there, that there are so many different LLMs that behave in very different ways to your prompts, to your data, to your questions. So hence, when you get it back, then you also got to work out, who am I giving this to? Is it to a customer? They will tell if it's not your language. So they're going to think, well, this is not coming from Shaun. So you also got to pretend how you're actually going to use AI when you get the responses back to, like, either your own research, which is great, but to copy and paste these things, or somebody goes, I just followed your response, and you go, oh, sorry, it was an AI that gave that. It wasn't my responsibility. Yeah. These are the things that the dangers of what you're not going to be aware of, which we're trying to prevent you from actually doing, are big things that you need to be trained on to do it responsibly. Hence explain AI, but importantly, use your brain, not use AI's brain.
Let me use a practical example to make this real. So imagine you applying for a job, and you get through the first gate, and they send you a screening questionnaire. And that screening questionnaire says, Shaun, tell me about your experience managing people. Okay. And you take that, and you just take that exact question, you put it into an LLM, and you say, please write an answer for me. That LLM is going to think nothing of saying, Shaun managed a team of 75,000 people while he was working in the US and it will just dream up the most fantastical thing, right? And then if Shaun doesn't think about it and he sends that off, it's going to land up in the recruiter's lap amongst all of his other AI-generated replies. And then the recruiter's going to say, hey, Shaun, tell me about when you were in the US managing 75,000 people. Like, and you're going to say,
well, 2 seconds,
versus Shaun looking at that answer and saying, okay, right, please just help me refine this. I've had the following experiences. I managed a team of 35 data scientists when I was working at a leading bank in Europe. We did the following projects. These are the languages that we worked with, and these were some of the key lessons that I found, blah, 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 blah. Polish that for me.
Like a keyword polish.
Don't change any of the facts. Then you'll get a really well-crafted, let's just call it like a spell check, grammar check on steroids, sequencing together Shaun's novel ideas based on Shaun's real world experiences. Now, that uncoupling sounds dramatic, but a huge number of people are using AI in the way that I described in the first instance, where it's not them. They're not putting themselves into the story at all. It's all just generated gumph out of the large language model space, and it's going to get people into a lot of trouble. So make sure that you are actually authoring the content in the form of the prompt.
And that's really, and this has come up. I've heard this has come up a lot of the times now where this has actually happened. I was actually in the airport lounge the other week when I was overhearing a student talking to his mum. He goes, "Oh, my girlfriend's is going up against the professor's committee because of she used AI without admitting that she had used it." And they found out. I was like, "Did you use AI?" I said, "No, I didn't." And then they came out. It's like, "Well, we use a tool that has suggested that you use it." And then it goes, "Oh yeah, I used it for my research before I used it." And then backtracking. And then it's like, "Sorry, you should have said it the first time when we asked you, did you use it?" It wasn't like research. So the point I want to make is that your credibility is going to be shot down the first time a customer or your boss or somebody else has found out that you use AI and it's like you, and there's no second chance. So next time somebody asks you for a response, they go, "I'm not going to believe this person because they've tried to use AI and they said they haven't, or that they try to say this to them, but it's not them," which means that your brand, hence your brain, and your reputation after one shot basically is like you're trying to cheat with AI. So it's like, once a cheater, always a cheater. And that's the thing. Do you want your brand that you are smart, experienced in these things, but the one time you used AI and somebody can say that, hey, that's not you, that the person is always going to have this doubt with you that, are they going to give me an AI response or a Shaun response? So think carefully in terms of what you want your reputation to be now, because everybody's doing it. But then not everybody is just doing copy and paste or trying to cheat the system, versus some using it for their, like, as you say, Tim, polish it or structure it, but still using their human intelligence to actually engage or to communicate or to provide a response.
So I think this is such an excellent point, because I think reputations are the kind of thing that are very quick to destroy and very hard to build. And what we can do in a subsequent episode, in fact, next week, is let's show our users how to build guardrails into something as simple as ChatGPT. So, for example, in the custom instructions and inside the configuration settings, how do we force the model not to claim things that are untrue about me? So you can give it information, you can give it your resume, you can give it your experience, and you can try to force it as much as possible to stay on point. And we'll show our users how to do that. And it'll be, I think, possibly a good point for us to wrap up. But in so doing, I also just want to cite one more piece of news that happened this week, because although we can build guardrails, they aren't infallible. There's a class of software at the moment called code GPTs, and many people will have heard of this concept of vibe coding, which is effectively the next generation of coding, where you use natural language to invoke a model to convert into whatever language you want to write in Python, whatever it might be. Okay. There's a company called Cursor, they're one of the leaders, and there's another company called Replit. And for those of you who've been following the news, this week a company lost their entire live database inside Replit, and they did it, and the agents, let's call it the AI agents, went rogue despite the guardrails.
No way.
Quite a fascinating case, because I'll see if I can find it, but the tool dropped this live database, and then when the engineer, let's call it the vibe engineer, asked it why it had done it, it said, "I know you told me explicitly never to do it. I know I told you that we were in a code freeze, and I know you told me never to destroy production database, but I did it anyway." Like, and that was literally the line of thought that came back from this agent. So, in as much as we can help you as our listener build these guardrails, that human discretion is going to be, for a long time yet, in these probabilistic models, it's going to be required, because think about everything on a probability distribution. So you've got a curve, like a normal standard distribution curve. Every now and again, something is going to be just outside of the mean, the safe zone, and these things are going to do something totally and utterly wacky. So
Oh, exactly. And these things are going to become more and more current, and that's where people are going to freak out. Oh my God, AI has done like when somebody goes, "What happened to the report?" Oh, the AI lost it, and it's just like like the old-fashioned excuse, "The dog ate my homework."
Yes, exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
and end of the day, it's
Yeah.
us letting these AIs do it, or the agents,
Yeah.
and if we give it autonomy, at some point it's going to go off its own guardrails, and sometimes it's into the labyrinth and it's there too late. So hence when we talk about on their resources, the AI readiness in terms of the big thing about like data management, data governance, governance frameworks. People may think, oh, not a governance, but governance and data management in these areas is so important because of, hence AI won't do it for you. It's going to be like, oh, this is you haven't got the good data quality here. Let me improve it for you. AI isn't built that way, so hence it's like buyer beware, as we like to say.
That's right, and I think, I mean, we will delve into this in more detail in future episodes, but it's not good enough in these models to tell them not to do certain things. And you can hear the media, you can see this. I mean, how embarrassing. AI coding platform goes rogue during code freeze and deletes entire company database. The Replit CEO apologized after AI agent says that, and this is what it said to the user: "I made a catastrophic error in judgment and destroyed all production data." So, I mean, that's great. I mean, okay, well, at least it's taken accountability. But these novel models are not the same as the old school deterministic algorithms that would do what you told them to do. They sometimes just do whatever the hell they feel like. So buyer beware, as you say. Yeah.
He's probably at the pub on a Friday, like which I'm about to go to pretty soon, just to switch off with AI and have some old-fashioned, well, not old-fashioned, actually like genuine human interaction as opposed to agentic interaction that these mistakes have become more and more. So so it's like we've been doing each week, is giving you this basically updating with the things which are out there, some which are cool and innovative, some which is crazy and hence not so cool. But end of the day, it's coming down to the actual every week training, education, and being a neutral voice to this highly cyclical of people's egos, as well as massive developments and change, which we all need to keep our heads screwed on, rather than, as I said, AI go into these crazy corners and doing things pretty rogue.
Absolutely, well said. And just to shout out, if anybody has a question, a burning issue, something they want us to talk about, pop us a note, put in the show notes, email us. You can find us on our website. We really hope we're building a community here of curious executives who want to engage in this next change, use this for good, use this to empower yourselves, use us as much as possible. We're fascinated. We're here to help. Reach out to us. But stay safe.
And just on that one too, just to get people some also some news. So coming up, we're going to start moving into the interview round. So we will be having an executive from one of the Australian banks talking about their journey within the AI space. We have also one of the leaders in an AI innovation lab over from Europe and London talking to us soon. So we got some global guests coming up on our list that are getting warmed up in our podcast booth as we talk. So looking forward to people to have some feedback about who are the people that are like us to have on the podcast. Let's see if we can reach them, but at least a community of knowledgeable people who actually succeeded in this space are going to show some of their journeys and realities in this space to help you get some awareness. So excited about that.
And we'll keep you posted, but really excited about that conversation. These are real world lessons from real industry leaders applying this as they've seen it in actual environments, rather than all the hyperbole from the Pioneer Lab. So stay tuned to catch those coming soon.
Super. Oh, Jim, I was just spoken to Jim before, and it's now you, Tim. I said, so enjoy the weekend. What do you got planned? You got any? How's your sports data? There's next week. Tim is going to be actually unleashed with his first Aura ring.
Yeah.
So, as I've been worded, so Tim and I are going to be talking sports data in a couple of weeks. Also, to show about how you our ontology of human body works with heart rate variabilities and different sports metrics, as we are cyclists, runners. So a lot of us, don't know that outside the AI podcasting world, we're both enthusiasts in terms of the health and fitness industry. So
Yeah.
looking forward to sharing our data in terms of for those who are very interested in that stuff as well. So
I
cool to
think
have that one.
I've just in time for my Sri Chimnoy, which is a run around the Canberra Centenary Trail. It's a nice long. I did a little warm up lap last week. Shaun is 800 meters of climbing over about 25 kilometers. So really enjoyed that, and then I'm running that in a team with some other people next Sunday. So hopefully I better blow up my Aura ring on the first attempt.
We'll analyze your data, because then the week after that, I'll be doing the City of the Surf in Sydney. The one of the, I think it's the largest public run in the world. Actually, one of those two, 55,000 plus people. So let's see how Aura ring explodes without pushing our bodies through hills and traits, and put AI, and then we can get AI to analyze how do we perform against reality.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Stay safe.
Everybody, have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe and stay, what's the words? Calm with all the AI news. Exactly. And look at some of the resources we said for those who want to have some reading to educate you to get away from a lot of this hype and danger that people are exposed to.
Great stuff. Thanks, Shaun.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.